mini pendant. It's a pretty quick project. It looks really nice when it's done, and it doesn't take much in terms of material. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. Okay, so to pull this off, we're going to need quite a few things. We're going to need a 10mm cabochon. We are going to need a 5-inch piece of 18 gauge square wire. We're going to need 2 pieces of 22 gauge square wire at about 1 inch. And then we are going to need 6 pieces of 22 gauge square wire and some wrapping wires. Okay, so our first step is going to be finding the center point on our large piece of 18 gauge square wire, folding it in half, and pinching the tip tight. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, the next step is to slowly bend it apart. And we're going to want our stone to be about right there. So I'm going to put it right there in the middle and slowly bend these two back together. So now we have this shape. Okay, from there we are going to run these 2 wires parallel, just like that. So we have this shape. Okay, now we can slide that stone out of the way and take our 2 short pieces of 22 gauge square wire, give one side a little hook like this, and put it across the back like this. Okay, this wire is going to keep the stone from falling out the back. So we'll do one. I'm going to give this a little bit of a bend so that it is going into the center a little bit more, just to make sure that it does cover the stone in the back. If it's straight, sometimes they don't stay exactly where you want them, but if you have that little bit of a bend, it'll make sure that it is for sure secure. Okay, so then wrap the other side of the wire so it's like this. Clip it and then pin it in place so that it does not leave. Okay, so it'll look like this. And now you're going to take the other small piece of wire and do the same thing on the bottom. Make your little hook, grab the part or the frame, ouch, stab yourself. I mean, that part's optional, you don't have to stab yourself, but apparently I felt like doing that today. A little bit of a bend. And attach it on the other side. Okay. Make sure your stone still fits where you want it to be. Mine does. My wires aren't quite covering as well as I want them to, so I'm going to grab my pliers and I'm going to pinch them together like that, and then tighten these down just a little bit more. Double check that I didn't just screw everything up. I didn't. And now there is enough holding the back of this stone in place that it is going to stay secure. Okay, perfect. Okay, so next we are going to deal with these wires. So what's going to happen here is similar to, like, say, a ring setting. I've got an example of what we're doing right here. Similar to a ring setting. So on these front wires, you have a few options. Either A, you can wrap them with a coil or a weave or whatever you like, or you can leave them straight. I am going to leave 2 of them empty, so I'm not going to wrap them or do anything with them. I'm going to wrap 2 of them with half round 24 gauge wire, and then I'm going to wrap 2 of them with 30 gauge round wire. So I'm going to get that done, and then I will come back and show you how we attach them. You can, again, make whatever pattern you want on your wires, and in a second we will attach them. So now we have our wrapped and unwrapped wires ready for being attached. What I do here is, to make it as painless as possible for my brain, is I will take first my unwrapped wires and I will make hooks like we always do, and I will hook one to the bottom, so the hook's going with the main body of the wires on the outside, the hook part is up and in, and then I will pinch that down so that it is staying flush and tight with the other wire, so that I don't have to worry about it causing a gap. Okay, and then I will take the hook on the other side and go diagonal from the original and hook it up to the top. So it'll be diagonal from the bottom one, and we're going to attach it the same way. So this is on the top opposite of the one that we attached first, okay? So it's like this. Then, if you have a pattern that you're trying to follow with the other wires, you're going to attach them in that pattern. I'm going to do my thicker coil first. I've left a tail on either end. I'm going to clip some of that off right now so that I can make my hook as tight up to the edge as I can. And then I'm going to go down next to my first wire like this, and then I'm going to pinch it in and tighten it down like that. Then I'm going to just finagle these a little bit so that they are parallel with each other, lined up, so that I don't have to worry about that in a moment. Okay, same story, gonna pinch this a little bit off, pinch everything down, make my hook. Uh-oh, made my hook a little too small. It's okay, I can adjust it like that. Now my hook will fit around my wire. I will come up here and hook it into place and pin it down so that it stays. Run my wires nice and parallel and straight with each other. And then finally my last small coil, same story, pinch any tail off that's gonna make it too long. Make my little hook and attach it to the frame in line with everything else, keeping everything, don't use your wire clippers to pinch this down. Pinch this down nice and tight so it doesn't leave. Make sure all your wires are the way that you want them to look. Perfect. Same on the bottom. Cut back to length. Make your hook. Attach it to the frame. Line it up with everything else that's there so that your next part looks nice and smooth. Secure it into place. Cool. Okay, so I have a stabby bit right here that's very distracting, so I'm going to pin it down so that it's no longer a stabby bit. There we go. Okay, so now we've got this mess of wires on both ends. So we will take our stone, put it in place, and we will start kind of bending these into shape. Okay, so here we go on this bottom half. So these are down, and then these, they're down and across like this. And you're going to do the same thing on the top ones. You're going to pull them down and across. You want them to be covering up the top of the side of the stone just enough to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, and bend these down and across, again covering the stone just enough so it won't go anywhere, keeping everything nice and straight. And then you're going to wrap them back and around, again making sure you're keeping that stone down in the frame the way you want it to be. And you can bend that into place like that if you want to right now, just to get it out of the way a little bit. Okay, and then you'll do the same thing with the ones from the top, down and around the stone. I'm pinching kind of the face of the stone with the wires so that everything's staying where I want it to. And that comes down and around like that. Okay, so everything is where it needs to be. These have kind of slid away from each other again, so I'm going to gently persuade it to go back together a little bit more. Okay, so now we have this, right? The wires aren't exactly where we want them to be. If yours are, congratulations. Very proud of you. And so now it is a question of pinning them down, okay? So what's going to happen first is we're going to clip the wire that is closest to the stone. And then we are going to pin it in place like that, and do the same thing on the other side. Okay. If you are like me and you have wrapped your wires a little bit longer than they need to be, here is where you will clip them so that they fit a little bit better and so that it's easy to attach them at the base here. So the way that I do this is I will very carefully and gently just clip the wrap, making sure that I'm being careful to not clip the wire underneath. You can slide that out of the way a little bit, and then you can just kind of pull this wire and it'll come right to where you want it. And then same with the other wrap, gently convincing it that it doesn't want to be one continuous piece anymore without taking off without damaging the base wire. Okay. If that scares you, which maybe it should scare me a little bit more than it does, you can always just find the end and unwrap it. Okay, once you've removed any excess, you can just proceed the way you did with the flat wire, clipping it before it reaches the other side. and pinning them into place. Okay, top side secure. Time for the bottom. Get those out of the way. Pin them into place. Okay, everything's pinned, secured, stone's not going anywhere. Everything looks great, except we don't have a bail yet. Okay, so to fix this, we'll make sure that everything is still lined up. We want our top and our bottom to be parallel, not going off anywhere crazy. And we will kind of give this a little bend forward, okay? Not kind of, we will definitely give this a little bend forward. Grab our bail making pliers. Make the loop big enough to fit a chain through it. So I'm doing my second to largest. If you are doing a homemade chain and you know that your bail is going to be quite large, then go ahead and use the biggest size. Okay, so now I've bent that into place. I will then grab this and bend it so that it is flush with the other wires. Then I will grab a piece of 24 gauge half round from being extra from my wraps earlier, and I will stick the tail in between the two pieces of the wire because I don't want there to be a part that's going to stick out and stab people. And then I will wrap the back and front together. Okay, we're going to make this bundle probably 3 wraps, hopefully. So 1, 2, 3, and then if you want, you can continue going up the front, or you can give it one nice wrap around the back. Clip a little bit of a tail. Okay. Grab your pliers, and there should be enough space for you to tuck this tail. I clipped it a little long. Clip this tail down inside of the bail, inside the bundle that you've just created, so that you don't have to worry about it coming back and poking anybody. There we go. Okay, so now this is what it looks like on the front. We have these 2 wires to contend with really quickly. What I do is I will bend them shy of the stone, like that, and then I will gently use my flat nose pliers and bend these up and into the piece. I guess the flat nose aren't going to work right now. Bend these gently up and into the piece where you've connected all your other wires, just so that there isn't a stabby part, but they're also out of the way. They're not going to bend and come back to haunt you, I promise. And then it's just another layer of security, and everything is attached, and that is our finished piece. If there's anything that you want to just push into place a little bit better, if it's not quite there, just take your time and give it a little bit more love, get it to where you want it to be. And that's everything. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe